What is up, guys? It's Brillymister here and welcome to today's video. If you do enjoy the video, then don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment and subscribe, and hit all the links up down below to Twitch and Discord. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, and welcome to the Elite Dungeons 2 part of my Loot from 10 Hours series. So in this video, I'm going to show you what I got from my personal 10 hours at Elite Dungeons 2, and then we're going to break it down and sort of compare it to Elite Dungeons 3 in depth, and then I'll give it a general overview and compare it to all the other bosses that I've done so far in my Loot from 10 Hours series. I will be doing Loot from 10 Hours of Elite Dungeon 1, but it won't be for a little while now, as I am doing the 24-hour challenge, and there'll be a link to that in the description down below. So I've just gone and claimed my chest. I've got every single bit of loot that I got from it in my inventory here. The cash stack is a lot bigger than what I actually got. I got 420k in like just pure coins drops, but the relics don't price check in the price checker here, so that is 420k plus the value of all the relics, and then I'm going to go put them in my alchemy machine. It's just so I can get you an accurate value now rather than having to wait for it to all out down. So some of the highlights you get here is obviously you get a hell of a lot of onyx dust from Elite Dungeons 2, which is like, it's pretty sweet. That's like 7 and a bit onyxes there, and there's 17k each, which is pretty cool. You actually make a bit of profit if you make them into onyxes. I think it's about 100k? About 100k profit? Yeah, about 100k profit if I make them into 7 onyxes each. So that's another 700k I could potentially add to this. Most of the loot though does come from the draconic energy, which you get from killing Blackstone Dragon. Got 145 of that. I'm not sure if that's particularly lucky or unlucky. Like, you can get like up to 70 or something in a solo, which is obviously like half of that in one run, but I didn't get any like that. My highest was like 30, which is still pretty good. Like, that was a big drop. Couple of uncut onyxes. You get these from like the Hydrix dragons as you go along. They're decent money, 1.8 mil each. And same with the Glaven wingtips. They're like a random prop from the lucky dragonkin charms. I used 15 or 16 dragonkin charms while I was there. This is the only one that got me anything good. The rest of them are kind of mostly like these perfect gemstone scales. Oh, I got a visage from one of them as well, so that's another 1.1 mil. Only got the one visage in the 10 hours there, which I was actually expecting more than that, to be honest. I did get very lucky at one point and get a doubled up rare dragonkin relic, which is pretty surprising. That's got to be quite a low chance that I got a rare relic and I got it doubled up by the drop thing, which is pretty cool. Other than that, it's just a lot of random sort of like various loot and stuff. So let's get into the price check now, see what we got. So we have here 65.3 mil, and as you can see, a big chunk of that came from the dragonkin energy and from the onyx dust. Also, obviously, as you can see for this, I didn't get lucky and get a codex while I was here, which is a shame. I don't want to say I was unlucky for not getting one, because I don't think I was anywhere near hitting the drop rate to be able to deserve one. But if I had got one, there was a decent chance I could have got one, but that would have been a massive, massive boost again to the money. Same with it was with the ED3. If I got a crossbow piece, it would have been an absolutely giant jump for the GP. So like if you had 100 mils for that, for the bigger codexes, and like 30 mil for one of the smaller ones, it definitely adds a decent chunk of money there. One thing I'd like to say from here compared to ED3, much easier to solo. So I soloed, apart from the first 2 runs, I soloed all of them, and I didn't actually die any times, which is also pretty good compared to like ED3, where I did go through quite a few onyxes while I was there. So there's gonna be a lot less deductions from this than there was for ED3, so I think the actual GP rate is going to be a lot better, or for what I achieved, it's going to be a lot better. But we'll talk about that more in the breakdown in a second. So now we get to the breakdown. It's very much like ED3 in the fact that this is a very RNG based way of making money, and the fact that the runs take so long, it takes quite a while to hit that RNG. So if you did it over say 20 or 50 hours, I'm sure they would both average out to be better money than they have. As in the time, I got no like rare drops, I got no codex, and I got no crossbow piece from either. So in my 10 hours of doing ED2, I got 14 runs, which is an average of 42.4 minutes a run, which is not the quickest time in the world, but it's also not horrendous. I think this was lower than ED2 just because it was mostly solo. My total loot I got was the 65.3 mil, and it averages that down to being 4.66 mil per run, which is actually really good for a per run. The costs here, I put them down as 1 mil an hour. That includes for like some food, your charges on your armour and stuff like that. But it's a lot harder to die here than it is to Ambassador and to ED3. It's like there's a lot less risk of death, and that overall makes the profit per hour a fairly respectable 5.53 mil, which that's not bad considering I didn't get any sort of codexes or anything to really bring the money or the total value of the drops up. So I'm quite happy with that being 5.5 mil per hour. So now when we bring Elite Dungeons 3 into the comparison here, you can see how it sort of differs out. I got a lot higher runs at ED3, I got 21 rather than 14, but I have a feeling this is mostly to do with the fact that I was duoing and trioing most of that, so it was a lot quicker per run and the boss kills went quicker and that sort of thing. And I think the bosses in ED3 are generally quicker bosses anyway. The total loot, however, was a little bit lower. So that just shows that basically the standard common loot you're going to get, and even the loot from the bosses if you don't get a drop, is going to be slightly worse, especially if you're doing it in a group. And the loot per run there is obviously substantially lower due to the fact that I got less overall loot and I got more runs in, so it's brought that down. My costs I put down as being higher here as well, mostly because I took a few deaths at ED3, whereas I didn't take any at ED2. So I think it's got a lot higher KO potential at ED3, definitely, especially from Ambassador. That's where a vast majority of my deaths were. There was the occasional one to the first boss, I don't know what it's called, the little snake thing that gets you, where it does its like head grinding the floor attack. I died a couple of times to that, but most of it came from killing Ambassador. So that's made the actual profit per hour a lot lower. However, again, both of these, like I've said, would be a lot higher if I'd overhit a codex or a crossbow piece. However, in my 10 hours, I didn't get a codex or a crossbow piece, so this is kind of the loot that you could expect from that if you don't get something in the 10 hours. So now we're on to the much wider comparison between all of the things that I've done a loot from 10 hours from so far, or PVM like boss wise. I've done a few Slayer monsters but they're not included in this, just the bosses, and I'm actually up to 8 now, which is actually really impressive. That's like 80 hours of work there. So I've only compared it to the actual GP per hour of these, because like I said in my ED3 video, they're not very comparable on like their kills per hour and the loot per kill, because you've got the whole dungeon you go through and you get the loot from, rather than just doing the kills. So like the kills, and it's so far out that it just isn't worth comparing. So if we first of all compare them, like Elite Dungeons 2 is slightly basically better than Corp and QBD from what I got, and that is in just sort of average GP without us getting a rare drop at any of the three really. Well, the QBD doesn't really have any, that's just kind of the loot that you get. And Corp, you can get a sigil, they're not very worthwhile anymore. It'll just be a little boost to your money. So you can see that ED2 is definitely better than the old and fairly easy bosses like QBD and Corp. Vindictor is kind of an outlier here in the fact that I didn't get any drops in the whole 10 hours, which I think is very, very unlucky. So I didn't really bring the average up on that, so ED2 basically outperformed that as well. But then Hellweir kind of was the opposite. I got like 5 or 6 drops in the 10 hours there, and it made the loot massive. And Nex and Magister are still well and far ahead of everything basically. Magister I got a little bit lucky, but not actually as lucky as you'd think, and the GP per hour there is pretty mental, to be honest. And Nex is, you know, solid GP per hour soloing, 12.1 mil. That's pretty decent, pretty solid loot. But what I am slowly starting to learn now from the fact that I've done quite a few of these loot from videos now is that 10 hours isn't necessarily enough to be able to get an accurate representation of like their hourly GP rate, because it's almost not enough for you to have your RNG be able to balance itself out and like get an average amount of drops. Like at Hellweir, I don't think Hellweir's 10 mil an hour, nearly 11 mil an hour consistently, like if you did that all the time. In the same way that I don't think Vindictor is only 2.7 mil an hour. I think it would be a lot fairer if I did them for say 50 hours, but I don't feel like 50 hours, it's not a great use of my time going to 50 hours on every single boss. So this is kind of what I got from my 10 hours, but I don't feel like they're particularly accurate rates for if you basically camp something for a month, say. I don't think you'd average 2.7 mil at Vindictor. I think you get a lot better than 2.7 mil. But this is what I got in my personal experience. thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you're notified of all my future content. And don't forget to hit up the links in the description down below to my Twitch and my Discord server. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.